Thanks for staying with us. With tonight's regional news, I'm Colwyn Abrams. Thanks for watching. We start off with news coming out of the Bahamas. Bahamian officials said on Wednesday that 2,500 people have been registered as missing in wake of the devastating Hurricane Dorian, but cautioned that the full list of those missing has not been checked to see if any of those people are in shelters. Thousands of people are in shelters on the island. Officials have confirmed 50 deaths caused by the September 1 storm. Thousands of displaced people are living in rapidly deteriorating conditions in the worst hit parts of the Bahamas 6 days after Hurricane Dorian made landfall, the United Nations World Food Programme warned. Even as the 8 ships and aircraft were headed in, thousands fled the devastation, some abandoning hard-hit Great Abaco Island to seek safety in the capital Nassau, and others heading to Florida for shelter, supplies, and perhaps food. Some 90% of the homes, buildings, and infrastructure in Marsh Harbor, where Dorian rampaged for almost 2 days as one of the strongest Caribbean hurricanes on record, were damaged. It noted that thousands of people were living in government buildings, a medical center, and an Anglican church that survived the storm, but had little to no access to water, power, and sanitary facilities. The U.S. Coast Guard and Navy were shipping in relief supplies and had already rescued some 290 people from isolated areas on the island. The U.S. Agency for International Development said it raised its allocation of aid to the Bahamas by $1 million to $2.8 million in total and had moved enough emergency supplies for 44,000 people to the islands. Some 70,000 people were in need of food and shelter, the WFP estimated, and private forecasters estimated that some $3 billion in insured property was damaged or destroyed in the Caribbean. We now turn our attention to news coming out of Jamaica. A 6-month-old baby has become the 96th murder victim in St. James this year, following a shooting rampage that also left 3 other persons injured after gunmen struck in Norwood, St. James on Saturday night. The dead child has been identified as Tira Thompson of a Hollywood address in Norwood. The injured persons included the child's 23-year-old mother and 2 teenagers, 16 and 14. Reports are that approximately at 8:30 p.m. on Saturday night, the 16-year-old and 14-year-old teenagers were among a group of patrons at a Wi-Fi bar in Hollywood Square when men armed with high-powered weapons drove up and shot at the patrons, injuring the 2 teens. While making their escape, the gunmen went to the 23-year-old female's house and opened fire on the occupants through a window, hitting the baby and her mother. All 4 victims were subsequently rushed to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, where little Tira was pronounced dead and others were admitted. And now for news coming out of Trinidad and Tobago. An estimated $2.4 million worth of cocaine has been demanded for the release of a Venezuelan couple who were allegedly kidnapped on Saturday afternoon. The anti-kidnapping unit is leading the search for the migrants Juan Espinoza, 23, and his girlfriend. Investigators spent Sunday and yesterday questioning relatives and neighbors about the incident. They suspect that the couple's disappearance is linked to a gang member involved in the drug trade between Trinidad and Tobago and South America. However, investigators are not ruling out other motives. The couple's 40-year-old landlord told police that he last saw them at around 11 a.m. on Saturday at his home at Palmera Village in San Fernando. A report made to the police stated that when they left their apartment, they informed the landlord that they were going downtown San Fernando. However, at around 14 hours 30, Espinoza contacted his landlord, saying that he was at one of the KFC outlets in San Fernando and would meet him at King's Wharf. The landlord told police he waited until 12:30 a.m., but no one came to meet him. He reported further that he later got a call from another Venezuelan migrant who claimed to have received 2 phone calls. One of the callers spoke in English and the second caller spoke in Spanish. Minister of National Security Stuart Young has insisted that any Venezuelan national found to be involved in crime will be deported regardless of their status. And that is the end of tonight's regional news. Goodbye.